All right, so you can mess around for a long time finding the right flats, the right simple flat colors to go behind your line work, whether it's on a white background, whether it's on a gray background. Whether it's on a black background. The problem is, if you're only selecting with your own eyes from the options in Photoshop, those colors are incredibly mechanical looking because the pixels are all exactly the same. And they're just not usually as compelling and as interesting as the spot illustrations that you might like the most. So at this stage, I've made some choices. I've gone from this to this, and I like that better. But now I want to look at inspiration. The things I was looking at when I was sketching. So I was looking at Jim Phillips stickers. Oh, that's my music. Stop it. Where's the music coming from? It's good music. Spotify. There we go. Okay. I found a keyboard shortcut. Function F9 turns on Spotify for me. All right. Remember that. All right. Anyway. So I have my illustration here, but it needs something. It needs more to its coloring. And it doesn't mean it needs more than just flat color necessarily, though I think mine will. But it needs the right flat color. It needs the right kind of quality of it. So I look to my inspirations. And these are old skateboard stickers from the 80s I like a lot. One of them, I'm going to open them up in Photoshop. So one of them has a water theme already, right? Even though it's low resolution, I can see that this uses a lot of different blues. 1, 2, 3 different blues and white, maybe 4 different blues. That one looks different. And what's kind of cool is because it's a low resolution image, those blues are made up of a variety of blue pixels, right? Just due to its pixelation and kind of the noise and being a JPEG image. But I'm going to have that open in Photoshop. What's another one I might like? Let's see, I'll bring my inspirations over. It doesn't need to match what I'm doing, but just I kind of like how the colors are working. The thing I don't like about this is there's no warms at all. There's nothing to set off the blue, like the pink that I'm using. So this one has blues and pinks. Open it with Photoshop. And so that's got some nice greens in it, as well as some pinks. And then there might be something else. I'm going to open a few of them. So I'm finding inspiration and opening them with Photoshop. Here's one I liked. Just a set of kind of colors and textures. Nice t-shirt design there. And then this is not Jim Phillips stuff, but these were other inspirations I found. From skateboard companies, some from logos. I really like this actually. Just this little silk screen. So now, how can I use those to inform my project? Well, it opened them all in this tab at the top. So what I'm going to do is say Window, Arrange, and I want, let's do 6 up. Let's try to fit all of them. Okay, so here's my project here. Here are all the others. So now what I can do, this is like a CNN, multi-panel talking heads screen. I can use my navigation shortcuts, Command minus, to shrink these down, use the Move tool, or actually rather the Hand tool. Move these into place. Click on this one, shrink it in. Click on this one, shrink it in. Maybe zoom in a little bit on this, because I really only need this stuff to inform what I'm doing. This one, I just like that kind of crazy yellow in there. So I'll keep that zoomed in. This, I like the sea foam, how it's dealing with that. And then mine, how does mine compare? Oh, it just looks weak compared to the rest. So let's give mine a little bit more space. Push out at the edges. Come on. This can be tricky in Photoshop. Just finding the edge. Oh, why that's so difficult. There we go. And I'm going to give mine a little bit more space than the rest. Right. And then I can swap this one over here, because I don't think that shark one's actually all that necessary. Now, why do I have the reference I like open in Photoshop? And I can get rid of this one entirely. That gives me more space. I can bring my layers. I guess it's helpful to have my layers over here just so you can see it clearly. But I can stretch it out, give myself a little bit more room. You understand what I'm doing with the limit. I can push that out. Give myself a little bit more room here. Shrink these. All right. So now I'm ready to actually steal colors from here to use in my coloring. And just like I stole colors from myself by holding down Option while I'm using the paint bucket, for instance, that turns it to the eyedropper. The eyedropper will work from any file within that's open in Photoshop. So what if I wanted to replace, I'm going to do this on a duplicate. It's always good to duplicate. But what if I want to replace all of, I'm going to turn off contiguous, all of that kind of bright turquoise color that I've used, and I want to replace it with this turquoise color. I go to my paint bucket, I hold down Option, and I click it from here. And it will show up in your foreground tab. Now remember, you're just picking one pixel still, right? And so you can find a variety of different colors within your reference. So if I zoom in on this, you'll see that there's a variety of blues there to choose from. So this is the way I like to kind of work with palettes. Yeah, what if that's kind of more interesting? Okay, and then maybe I want to change up this color in the 3 places I have that going on, and I want to change that to let's do this one. Drop that in. Right. That's pretty much what I already have there. So let's try a different one. That's a little bit more interesting. Now those are subtle changes, but they can make a big difference to fine-tuning your flat color selections. What's more important is I'm seeing through these different images that I like, that I'm inspired by, that they're about more than just flat color. All of them have some form of, well, this one doesn't, this is just flat color. But these 3 have what's called duotone color. So that's the next step. Flat color is usually pretty bold. Duotone color splits that bold local color into a light value and a dark value, both of which are usually less saturated than the original. So what might that look like? So if I like these base colors, I think I'm going to change this one really quick. And this takes some playing with. And I want to play with maybe this kind of cream color. Let's try that. Yeah, that's kind of nice. And then let's try the tongue. All of those. Maybe I want to change it, see if it makes any difference to change it to this light blue tone. That purple's in there. Oh, it's kind of nice up there. Maybe it would be nice there. Maybe it'd be nice there. And there. Then for this one, I need something else. So maybe for that, I use this kind of cream color tone. Drop that in here. That's still too extreme. Let's try this one. All right. So now I've kind of worked with those flat colors quite a bit, and there's something different. I can play with the pink, because if I'm going with flat color, you notice how bold it is, but if I'm going with duotone, it's going to be more subdued. So if I wanted a flat color pink, which I don't think I want, I'm being a little tentative there. I might as well just try something like this, right? But if I'm going with duotone, maybe I want something more along the lines of this tongue pink, if I can get it. Or even something lighter, right? That's looking a little more vomity. And then, of course, I can always adjust it using the sliders here on the color selector. And I actually like the pink from before better. So we go back to that one. All right, so now I have some parameters that I want. I kind of know what I'm going for. How can I start introducing duotone effects? Well, the easiest way to start is to add highlights. So we've done our outline, we filled in with flat color. So now this is actually not quite duotone yet. We're not going to separate the colors quite yet, but we can add white highlights where we think they're needed. So here you see the tail has no cutout shapes of white. Here it does. That's going to help a lot with my reflective water. So how do I do that? Well, I might just do something as simple as drawing the shapes with the lasso. And I'll do this on a new layer. I'm going to call these white highlights. It gives me a few options to do them on a new layer. Now, Photoshop won't automatically smooth them for me, but I'm going to hold down Shift and draw at a distance, knowing I'm safe, some of these highlight areas. I definitely want more on the tongue. This thing I'm thinking of is the tongue. I can always do Command Z if I didn't draw it well. And I might want to extend it all the way to the black outline, so it runs behind the black outline. It's like an offset. Don't worry if they're not perfectly clean. You can clean them up later. Just getting a feel for it right now. And you'll notice there are a lot of them in these sticker illustrations. Don't even worry about going outside of the lines. We can clear that up later. I'm basically just picking areas I want to be filled in with white. Now, why is this not duotone color? Well, white's not actually a color. So you can't actually say that I'm changing the colors inside if I'm just cutting out white.